79 AD, August 24th. The people of Rome had gathered from far and wide to witness the glorious contests within the walls of the Colosseum. But what if an unforeseen terror looms as the gladiators prepare for combat? From the shadows emerge creatures beyond imagination, an unimaginable nightmare that turns the Colosseum into a battleground between the living and the undead. The spectacle began as expected, with the clash of mighty gladiators, the roaring of ferocious beasts, and the cheers of the frenzied audience. However, amidst the backdrop of this thrilling entertainment, a sinister undercurrent began to take shape. Unbeknownst to the spectators, the city had been gripped by an inexplicable illness in the weeks leading up to the games. As the day wore on, the infected individuals who had unknowingly entered the Colosseum began to show the first signs of the horrifying plague that had befallen them. It started subtly, a low growl here, a shuffling gait there, as a few infected audience members began to display strange behavior. It wasn't until one of the infected, a woman in tattered clothing, lunged at her neighbor with a savage hunger in her eyes, that the true horror of the situation became apparent. Panic swept through the grandstands like wildfire as more and more audience members succumbed to the mysterious ailment. Their once human faces contorted into grotesque masks of death, and they descended upon their fellow spectators with frenzied aggression. The gladiators in the arena initially paid little heed to the commotion in the stands, busy fighting for their own survival. The gladiators, no strangers to violence, faced an entirely different kind of adversary. This being had a cold, lifeless pallor with rotting flesh and an insatiable appetite for human flesh. The arena turned into a chaotic battleground, with gladiators, beasts, and the undead clashing in a gruesome and surreal spectacle. The once cheering crowd now fought for their lives as they fled the infected, pushing and trampling one another in their frantic escape. But will these ancient Romans win against the zombies? Let's see. Advantages. Military training. Ancient Romans were renowned for their disciplined military training and organization. This would give them a significant advantage when it came to combat tactics and maintaining a cohesive defense against the zombie threat. Weaponry. The Romans possessed an array of weapons, such as swords, spears, and shields, which were designed for close combat. These weapons would be effective in hand-to-hand combat against zombies. Structures. Rome had many fortifications, including city walls and watchtowers. These could serve as strong defensive positions to fend off zombie attacks and protect survivors. Engineering skills. Roman engineering was advanced for its time. They could potentially construct traps, barriers, and other defensive structures to slow down or deter zombies. Discipline and cohesion. Roman military discipline and the ability to follow orders would be crucial in organizing survivors, setting up defenses, and executing coordinated attacks on the undead. Disadvantages. Lack of knowledge. Ancient Romans had no concept of zombies or the undead, and they would need help understanding how to effectively combat them. Recognizing the need to destroy the brain or incapacitate the undead might take time to figure out. Limited medical knowledge. Ancient Roman medicine was rudimentary compared to modern standards. Treating zombie bites or infections would be challenging, and there would be a limited understanding of contagion control. Population density. The densely populated urban centers of ancient Rome could lead to a high concentration of zombies, making it difficult to escape or find safe havens. Resource scarcity. In a post-apocalyptic scenario, resources such as food, water, and ammunition would quickly become scarce. Ancient Romans would need to adapt to survive in a world where these supplies were limited. Mobility. Ancient Roman transportation was reliant on horses and carts. This could be a disadvantage when trying to escape or coordinate rescue missions in a world overrun by zombies. Superstitions and panic. Ancient Romans were deeply superstitious, and the appearance of zombies might be interpreted as an omen or curse, causing widespread panic and making it difficult to maintain order. Fighting zombies in ancient Rome would undoubtedly present many moral and ethical dilemmas for its inhabitants. Here are some of the key ethical concerns that would arise in such a scenario. Mercy killings. When a person is bitten by a zombie and destined to become one, the ethical question of whether to end their suffering through a mercy killing would be a profound dilemma. Romans might grapple with the moral implications of taking a life, even if it's to prevent the person from becoming a threat. Quarantine and isolation. Romans would need to decide how to handle those who were bitten, but not yet showing symptoms. Isolating or quarantining these individuals could save lives, but it would require sacrificing their freedom and potentially exposing them to cruel fates. Ethical questions of individual rights and public safety would emerge. Moral decay and desperation. As the crisis deepened, moral decay and desperation might set in. Romans would be forced to confront ethical questions about looting, theft, and other criminal behavior in the quest for survival. Duty to family or society. Individuals would face moral dilemmas about whether to prioritize the safety of their own families or the greater good of society. The tension between personal and collective responsibility would be a recurring theme. Moral obligations to the infected. Should Romans attempt to help the infected, even if there was no known cure? Ethical dilemmas would emerge around whether to offer care or comfort to those who were already bitten and could not be saved. We would love your thoughts and opinions on this what-if scenario. Leave your comments below and join the conversation about this unique and imaginative battle between history and horror. Who will have won, zombies or Romans?